Hi there, Amit here for PhoneRare, and this is the camera review of the Huawei P9 smartphone. Now this smartphone comes with a dual 12 megapixel rear camera wherein one of the sensor captures photos in RGB while the other one captures photos just in black and white, that's in monochrome mode. Now the advantage to this is that because the second sensor just captures photos in black and white, it allows in more light and offers you with better captures and also better depth of field photos. Now let's move on to the camera samples which are captured with the smartphone rather than just looking into the specs to ensure or to check out how good the camera is. The camera is actually powered with the Leica's technology as I mentioned earlier, and it comes with the dual LED flash and the laser assisted focus. So let's check out some of the camera samples. Now these are some random shots, nothing. I didn't even use a tripod for capturing any of these photos, so you can notice that the captures have turned out to be pretty good enough. The first one is just a random shot captured by my 5-year-old son who had the phone in his hand, and this was based on the depth of field simulation mode, where you can notice that there's a lot of blur on the background, but that said, it also looks like an artificially edited photo rather than looking like a photo which was captured from a smartphone or even a DSLR, that if you notice. Let's move on to more photos. Now this is a capture which was done in monochrome mode. You can notice that it adds a different perception itself, like this is a regular shot, doesn't really look unique, but again if you capture in black and white, it does look a very different shot in itself. Few more background defocus shots. If you notice, I was able to focus on just this small branch of this plant rather than focusing on everything. Now here is another good example of this camera's capabilities. If you see, both the cameras are doing its job, and I was able to focus on the front leaves and the bark of the tree, but in the next capture I was able to also focus on this area which was actually brightened up because the focus was only on the frontal area, and now you can see everything was perfectly darkened in the front, but in the background everything was clear and crispier. Moving on to more shots, you can see these are some more photos. Again, the captures of these flowers and these leaves are pretty much normal, not oversaturated, and they are decent enough. When you compare this with the Galaxy S7, you will notice that the Galaxy S7 captures come out to be oversaturated, and that's because of the software enhancement and the post-processing which happens on the Galaxy S7. Now here is an example of the zoom in feature of the Huawei P9. Now if you notice, this isn't a large flower or a bud, but these are small things, and the camera has done a fabulous job in capturing this bee with a lot of details. Let me try to show you another shot of the same, where you can notice that these were very little buds. But before that, let me show you some other capture. So here is the regular sand and the leaves capture, but if you notice in the black and white view, it looks very different. You would have never thought it would look this way. Now the camera also comes with option wherein you can also focus or refocus later on. So let me just show you a demo of the same. Now the camera comes with wide aperture effects wherein you can focus or refocus on specific portions of your captures later on. So if you notice here, you can focus on any of the area after you capture a photo, and that's something interesting. So here let me show you some more captures which I have done with these options. Now if you can see here my kids who are cycling on the street, and I was able to actually focus on my son's face first, but using the camera's capabilities I was able to refocus on my daughter's face. Let me move on. Here is another capture of a street dog. You can notice it really adds a different dimension itself. If you notice, this was a regular shot in color mode, but if you move back to the black and white, it looks like a very different capture itself and looks like something which was captured with the DSLR. Let's move on, and here are a few more shots in black and white and color. You can notice a huge amount of difference, and this is another mode which is available under night mode options of this smartphone. Now talking about the night modes, the camera also comes with 4 different sub modes under the light or low light mode, and here you can see the first one is the tail lights, which is something which you would like to capture when you are on a street, which captures all the tail lights. And then there's the light graffiti mode. I'll be showing you the camera samples which I've done with that. Then there's the silky water and the star track. So let's move on to the camera samples. It's first and show you the same. So here is the light graffiti. After first, second, third and fourth try, I was actually able to capture a good light graffiti capture, and here are all the results of the same. Let's move on, and here is the shot I had mentioned earlier about, and where you can notice that these were very little buds, and the insect was also very small or minute, and still the camera was able to capture it in great detail. Moving on, here is a capture which was done in night but without a tripod. Now that's very important. If you want to capture a very good night capture, then you need have a tripod in your hand, or you need to hold it perfectly. Let's move on and show you some more camera samples. So here is a random shot of a plant called as Tulsi in India, and you can notice the amount of details you get when you capture in a zoom shot. Here are a few more random clips while I was traveling around the city, and you can see a lot of details while traveling. Now here is another important capture. This is the Star Track mode, where you can start following all the stars and the moon while you keep your camera in one specific location. So I didn't again use a tripod, I just placed it on my floor and started recording it, and after second try you could notice that it took around 23 minutes to capture this photo, which is the last one, but it came out to be pretty good. So it clearly tells me that I should have waited probably for an hour to get a very good shot, but this is something I don't even have to look into the settings, set up the ISO or the aperture or any other options. It does its job perfectly, and that's one of the best advantage of this smartphone's camera. Now here is a food photo. Again, in Galaxy S7 we had a specific Galaxy camera's food mode option, where it actually enhanced the food photos by focusing on one area and also oversaturating the photos. But in this case you just have to shoot the photo and your job is done. Let me know in your thoughts, what do you think about all these captures? This is another evening shot, a random shot on our terrace, and here is my daughter's photo. If you can notice, I didn't have to do anything, just pull out the camera and shoot a photo. Another bug, again that's a cockroach probably, but you can notice the details which you get, and this was again in low light, or you can say in the night time, with the flash. The flash didn't really do a good job because it fired up a lot of light, and still it came to be decent enough. Here is another capture in daylight, again with the depth of field simulated mode, and you can see the camera has done a great job. Again, this is something which I would generally see with a DSLR's camera, but this was able to do the job, and that's what I expect from a smartphone's camera. Here are a few more food photos. Again, my wife had joined some kind of competition, and I had captured some random photos. I didn't use any other option or even a manual mode. The camera comes with the pro mode for your information, but I didn't use any of those, and I was able to capture some great photos. If you can notice all these photos one by one. Now the photos have come out to be great, no doubt about that, and these are all being seen on large screen display. You can notice here, and there's no pixelation or any noise even when they're captured in the low light mode. Now here let's talk about the front camera. The front camera comes with a 8 megapixel sensor, and it comes with an aperture of f2.2. It also does a decent job, but that's not again powered with the Leica's technology or the post processing, but it still does a great job. And this is what are few of the camera samples. Again, you can notice there's a little blur, and when if you can notice the hand in this capture has been blurred, and but it's still still does a decent job in terms of the details. In terms of the post processing, you can also notice that you can also change the background while you select the wide aperture effects, and you can make a lot of changes in the background for the final captures. So overall, these were the different captures which I had done with the Huawei P9 smartphone. I would still consider this as a DSLR replacement for an amateur who uses a DSLR with the auto mode on, and this is something which could replace all his requirements. Now here finally let me show you the night mode feature. In the night mode, this is a capture which I just done last night at 12 o'clock and 10 minutes, probably 12:10 a.m. and you can find all the EXIF information on our detailed review. So go through all the camera mode and the options and everything. This is the night mode capture, and you can see there's nothing lit up, and this is how it looks. But once you enable the night mode, you could see a decent amount of difference. You could see a lot of brightness, and could also notice a few other buildings in the locality wherein it was earlier completely dark. Now under the night mode, you have some pro options wherein you can keep the ISO to 1600 and also keep the aperture open for 4 seconds. Now that's what I did, and you would be shocked to see the final capture which came out to be. This looked like an evening capture. This, for your information, is again captured at 12 o'clock in the night. Now this is more or less looking like a spy camera shot which I captured without a tripod again, and this was just I was holding the phone for 4 seconds. Now the next capture is for 8 seconds. So the longer the duration, the picture turns out to be better. And to only prove that this was captured in the low light is that there were some street lights in the night. So this is what is the camera's capability with this smartphone's dual camera technology, which is the 12 megapixel sensor technology, which is again partnered with Leica. Again, this is what the product talks about, and this is what you get with the Huawei's P9 smartphone's camera. And now finally, one more thing which is very interesting. This smartphone comes with a watermark feature wherein you can change different watermarks depending on the location and the options or the food photos or any other modes which you capture in. So you get options like time, location, weather, mood and food, wherein you can select from a range of different camera modes which you can notice here. Now these are different camera modes, watermark modes which you can select from, and you can add it to all your photos. In my case, I like the smartphone's camera, so I wanted to have the mention of Huawei P9 or the Leica's dual camera. So in all these photos you would notice that watermark, but now I feel I should be removing that because that's the end of this review. Now let's talk about the video capabilities. The device comes with a full HD video recording, not a 4K recording, which is something which has been a trend in the recent times, and that's something one of the biggest cons with this smartphone's camera. I was hoping that it would come with a 4K video recording, but that said, this comes with a beauty video recording mode, which means that it would enhance and remove all your pimples, acne and every other thing, and makes you look beautiful, at least in the smartphone video recording. And talking about the other things, the camera also comes with a slow motion feature wherein it records slow motion videos in 720p. So here is a capture of the same, and do make a note that none of the slow motion videos actually turn out to be in slow motion when you move the media to YouTube or even to your computer, but they play in slow motion on Google Photos or even on your smartphone. So that's something which Huawei should be fixing in their software updates. Moving forward to another camera video sample, you can notice that this is another video camera sample wherein you can notice that the video has turned out to be pretty good, but the digital OIS is doing its job to some fair extent, but not to the extent you would be seeing with the optical image stabilization. So that's another thing which Huawei should be adding to this smartphone's camera. So this was a review of the Huawei P9's camera, and let me know if you have any queries about this on my Twitter handle at Amit Bhavani, or you can let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and let me know in the comment section how you like this video and if you have any feedback or any suggestions.